everyone, it's Emily with Elephant Shoe Corner. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today I'm going to be making 5 cards with one kit using the Spellbinders November 2019 card kit of the month, Christmas Wishes. I have product links in my blog post, and my blog post link is in the description below. It really helps me out if you check out those links. I really appreciate your support. And I want to thank you all for watching. This card kit comes with glitter stickers, die-cut shapes, chipboard embellishments, dies, and paper. Here's the stamp set that it comes with. It comes with trees and bows and some sentiments and a to and from, so you can make some tags for your Christmas gifts. Here's the glitter stickers. There's Merry Christmas, Ho Ho Ho, Jolly, and a few other words. Here are the chipboard embellishments. And the adhesive gemstones. And here's some adhesive tape and foam squares. I think these come in every card kit. They've come in every one I've had so far. Here's the pattern paper. Comes with several different patterns to choose from. And some of them have some glitter on them, as you can see. Comes with 2 sheets of each pattern. And I gotta say, I'm much more of a silver person than a gold person, but since I've been getting these card kits, I think this is my second one with gold, and I just love the look of the cards with the gold on them, so I'm starting to like gold a little bit more. Here's the dies. They make the Christmas ornaments, and you can use them separately or together for the circles. And I'll show a couple different ways to use those. And then it also makes some flowers. And then you can see the top of the Christmas bulb there too is one of the dies. So I'll show that in just a second. And here's the 10 envelopes and cards. And 9 sheets of paper. You can see they're very Christmassy colors with different colors of reds, and you got green, and you've got the gold one right here. And we have all of our die-cut shapes. And I do make a couple different cards with using some of these shapes too. So, card number 1, we use the almost cream-colored cardstock that comes in the kit. And I use some of the ink that I already have on hand. So we're using Great Fusion right now. And I've put my stamp on the stamp block. I get it inked up. And I stamp it on the card. And I use my chamois to clean off my stamp. That chamois I just got off Amazon. Now I'm using Watermelon Fusion. And this stamp set did come with 3 different trees, so I'm using a different tree than the first one that I used. I have that on my stamp block, inking that up, and then I'm going to stamp it right next to the first one. Cleaning that off with my chamois. I'm going to use Beach Breeze for my third tree. I'm switching stamps, putting the third tree onto my stamp block. Getting that inked up. And stamping it down. Now I don't have enough small blocks to let each tree have its own block. So instead of stopping and switching blocks every time I wanted to stamp, I used the same clear block, and I put a tree on one side, and then I flip it over and put a tree on the other side just to make it faster and more convenient for me. Now that you've seen the process a little bit, I do speed up the video for the rest of the card because it's more of the same that we did with the first 3. So I do my purple, and then I do my pink. Then my Beach Breeze. Then my last one I stamp slightly off the side of the card. Now I'm going to get out my sentiments. I decided to go with 2 different sentiments, kind of mix and match. I start with Season's Greetings, and I decided to do that with the Great Fusion to match the trees. And I always clean off my stamp with my chamois before I put them back. And now I'm using the With a Little Sparkle and a Lot of Shine sentiment. And I'm going to use my Beach Breeze ink on that one, again to match some of the trees down at the bottom. And then I'm going to use the Citrus Cooler ink and stamp some stars that also came with the stamp set. I'm going to just stamp those all around the sky. I originally wanted the stars to be the lemon drop color, but I wasn't sure if that color would show up well on this cardstock, so on the back I just did some color testing, and I tried the lemon drop and I quickly noticed that that was too light, so that's when I changed it over to the Citrus Cooler. So make sure that you test out your colors maybe on the back to make sure that they work before you ruin a whole piece of cardstock. So you can see here my ink testing. The yellow showed up a little bit, but just not quite enough. Now I'm using my advanced tape glider to adhere our cardstock panel to the card base. And there you go, card number 1. For card number 2, I use some really simple just die cutting, and that's all that this card uses. So I'm going to do the Christmas ornaments. So here's the Oh What Fun ornament. And I take my cardstock and I'm going to place that in the middle. And then I have the other ornament. So I figure out my spacing. And then I run that through the die machine. And then I put the smaller ornament on in the other corner. And then I run that through the machine again. And this is what you have. And this red cardstock I cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to put that on the gold cardstock, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I put the little topper to the bulb. And I just want to make the middle one have the topper. So I'm going to adhere all those together. And then that's going to be it for this card. So I'm using Tombow liquid glue. And I'm just going to glue up the red cardstock to put on the gold. And it doesn't take much glue. I tend to put way more glue than I need to, but I've gotten it glued up. And then I'm putting it on the gold cardstock, getting it centered where I want it. And that liquid glue, again, is much easier to move if you need a little bit of wiggle room. The advanced tape glider I like to use, but you don't really get much wiggle room. Once you place it, that's set. So just depends on what you prefer. But I'm going to use my advanced tape glider here on the back of the gold. And then I'm going to put that on the card base. And I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue again for the topper of the ornament. And I'm just going to place that right on top. There you go, super simple, just using die cutting and 2 pieces of cardstock. Super simple and a really pretty card. Now for card number 3, I have some pattern paper that I cut to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to adhere that onto the piece of burgundy cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm using a bunch of the die cut shapes that came in the kit. So before I adhere the die cut pieces, I'm going to adhere the card panel that we just made onto the card base. And then I get all of my card pieces placed to make sure all of my flowers and all of the die cut shapes fit where I want them to. I don't know how well you can tell in this video, but those leaves have some gold on them. And the circle with the sentiment, the most wonderful time of year, that sentiment is also in gold. So now I'm going and gluing all my pieces together. So I'm gluing the leaves first because I want those to be in the bottom. And then I adhere the flower on top of that. And then I do my bottom leaves and the bottom flower. And again, I'm just using my Tombow liquid glue. For the third flower, I'm going to use the foam squares that came with the kit. This will help pop it up on the card and help give the card some dimension. So I use 4 of those foam squares on this small flower, and that just helps make sure it stays popped up and doesn't get smushed too easily. I'm going to place that where I want it. I'm going to go back to my Tombow liquid glue for the card with the sentiment on it, and I'm going to stick that right under that popped up card. And there you go, card number 3, super simple. These die cut shapes that come with the kit are awesome to use when you're in a hurry or just need a quick, easy card. So those are nice for that. Now card number 4, this is another simple card, and I've got that burgundy color and the gold again. I'm going to use my advanced tape glider to adhere that burgundy piece, which is 3 3/4 by 5, onto the gold cardstock, which is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So that will fit perfectly onto the card base that came with the kit. So now I'm going to tape up the back of that gold piece and put it right on the cardstock. So my card is ready. And then I'm going to put some of those glitter stickers onto the card. I really love the burgundy color with the gold. I think that looks really nice. So I'm going to do Merry Christmas for this one. And again, I've sped up the video just so you don't need to watch the whole thing. This is a quick and easy one. So I don't press down all the way until I have it exactly where I want it. So right now I'm putting the stickers for Mary. The M-E-R came together, and then R was separate, and then Y was separate. So I just want to make sure I have that lined up. And then Christmas, the C was separate. And then we have the H and the R, and I use my tweezers to get the loop out of the H. There we go. And again, I don't press it all the way down, that way I can adjust it when I need to. So here I needed an adjustment. And these are very delicate, so I had to be careful when taking it off the sheet because the next several letters came together, so it's a little bit tricky. And now I'm just figuring out the placement. And when I'm ready, I can press it down. Then I don't want to forget the dot of the eye, so I use my tweezers to kind of help me get that off the sheet. It's a little bit tricky. Took a moment, but then I got it with my tweezers. So there's that, and then I make sure that's pressed down. Super simple, pretty card. And then I decided to add some of those stars that came with it, just to dress it up a little bit. And I think this is such a simple card, but I think it's my favorite one of the ones I made today. I love the glitter too. Now for card number 5, we're going to use the dies to make the Christmas bulb. I showed you on one of the cards earlier how to use just the die without the circle around it. Now when you run this through your die cutting machine, you're going to put them together. So you're going to put the Oh What Fun in the middle of the large circle. And then you're going to run the circle through by itself with a color. So that solid color goes behind your Oh What Fun. And this is the same idea for the other bulb that came with it. That was just the decorative one. And then you want the topper, so you run that through also with the cardstock that you want. I chose gold for this. So before I glue those together, I'm going to get my cardstock ready. So my pattern paper is 4 by 5 1/4, and my cardstock is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I use my advanced tape glider to put those on the card base that came with the kit. And then I use some of the die cut shapes from the kit. And my Tombow liquid glue, I just glue those bulbs on. And then my Oh What Fun, I'm going to use my glue sponge to sponge that up. I'm going to use my tweezers to hopefully have as little mess as possible, because I don't want it on my fingers, because I have a tendency to make a mess. So I'm going to give the tweezers a shot. And I'm just using a wet paper towel. So every time I use the tweezers and push down into the glue, I wipe them off on the wet paper towel. That helps me not get glue all over the front of my die cut shape, that gold. So I want to make sure it's glued up pretty well. You can see there's lots of glue on there. And I'm going to put that on the pink circle piece that we cut out. And you can see that fits perfectly. And I'm going to use my tweezers again to hold it down into place. And I want to make sure that the words are glued down as well. I like the glue sponge because you get enough glue on there without having too much where it oozes out. I have better luck with the glue sponge for this kind of thing. I made very little mess, as you can see, so I've done better than I've done in the past. And then I just need to glue that circle on. But first I want to put the topper, because I want that to be slightly under the circle. Using my liquid glue again. Then I switch over and decide to use the glue sponge and give that another try. And again, every time I push down with my tweezers, I clean my tweezers off with just a wet paper towel. And I use my tweezers to pick it up and place it on the card. And now I'm going to place my circle with the Oh What Fun just slightly over it, so it overlaps just a little bit. Then I hold that down to make sure it sets in place. There we go, card number 5. And here's a bonus card number 6 for you. I didn't tape it because it's just the die cut shapes. So I took the cream colored cardstock, which was 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and a piece of patterned paper, which was cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And then I picked out the trees and the houses and some stars and snowflakes and just adhered those onto the card. So super simple, but I thought it made a cute little scene. So there you go. I'm going to show you the cards that we made today one more time. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. Product links will be in my blog post, and the blog link is in the description below. Again, I appreciate your support. Please feel free to share this video with your crafty friends. Thank you for watching. I hope you loved it.